Hey guys, Jesse here once again. I got a quick training for you. I'm going to talk with you about website development, deployment, and kind of the framework that we utilize or that I utilize in order to organize our website development project. So first and foremost, I want to talk with you about the actual framework itself and how we should be approaching each and every one of our development projects. So what we do is we utilize pretty much a standardized technology stack for RazoRSharp networks. We have plugins that we utilize on a regular basis. We have the Divi theme that we utilize as a content editor and page designer. We utilize, Keep on the back end for CRM, Membarium for membership areas and things of that nature. So I want you to get familiar with the actual technology stack that we utilize and make sure that you are familiar with the majority of those plugins on a go forward. Now, in addition to that, we have our brand package. Now, the brand packages are hosted in Canva. And what we do is we build out a set of colors for the website development. We do logo, we do fonts on there. We do 3 fonts, primary font for header, primary font for the body, and then a font for accentuating the design elements and things of that nature. So if you're not familiar, you're working on a project, you're not familiar with the brand and or the color palette or fonts and things of that nature, you want to make sure that you familiarize yourself with that as well. Now, in addition to that, going into Divi, each one of these elements should have global properties. There should be global images. The fonts should be loaded as defaults in regards to each one of our design projects. And then we should have global elements when it comes to things like button elements. And we should have a dark button element and a light button element for buttons that are on white backgrounds, and then buttons that are potentially on colored backgrounds and things of that nature. And those should be set as global defaults. Those elements should be global defaults. So again, we'll have fonts. The font elements should have our global defaults loaded into them. Our button elements, our row element, our row and our sections should have global defaults set up and things of that nature. So I'm going to actually jump on over to the Principal Diagnostics site and talk with you about that specific project. Before I do, let me talk with you about the development process. Okay, so first and foremost, we deploy the website, and then we're working on the company pages. This would be the home page, the About Us, contact pages, the privacy or the policy pages, privacy, data use, terms and conditions, things of this nature. These all need to be deployed as the actual company pages themselves. And this is a standard deployment when we're talking about a website. So those company pages are going to be the first section of pages that get deployed. Now, with those pages, they're going to need a header. They're going to need header elements, and they're also going to need footer elements. And these things need to be styled and designed so they pop, they look amazing. And I'm going to go ahead and jump over here, and so I can give you a couple of examples in regards to what I'm talking about. So with the initial setup, as I was saying, you're going to make sure that you know what the brand elements are. And then we're going to go in and develop the headers and also the footer elements. Now, in order to accomplish this, what you're going to need to do is have some idea of what links in order to add to the site. So just as a standard rule of thumb, you're going to add all the primary company page links to the global menu. That's this section here, the global menu. Now, for most sites, we're going to have some type of hello bar, and we're going to have our primary calls to action in that hello bar. So as you can see here, we have a link to the sales portal, provider portal, and also admin portal. For this specific customer, these are external portals. We're not actually building those. We're actually going to be building a payment portal and doing some integrations in there. And we'll add that link to the hello bar when we get there. But these are the things that need to be deployed, right off the bat. Hello bar, primary links in the hello bar, the global navigation, the business or the company pages need to be a part of that global navigation. And then if we're thinking about it, we might have our primary call to action as a button in the top right-hand section. Again, think about this from a standpoint of how people read information, top to bottom, left to right is how we want to attract our readers' information. Now, with this page, specifically, as you can see here, I went in and I developed the actual header section here. Some things that still need to be done to the header section. The hello bar and the primary menu bar section in the header need to be sticky. What I'd like to do is I would like to, upon scroll, make sure that this menu bar here is reduced in size so that it becomes less prominent in regards to its size. So we'll shrink that down on scroll so that it becomes smaller when people are scrolling through the website itself. So let's go ahead and get that done there as well. In addition to that, on each one, so in addition to the company pages, now we're going to be working on trust and credibility pages. You know, these are things like, you know, the company bio pages that we have been building out. These are fantastic pages. As you can see here, I've adjusted the hero image, made it a little bit smaller so that our profile picture can be above the fold. We want to make sure that we keep the information we want people to see above the fold. So in addition to that, we need to make sure that we link all this information. Call me buttons need to dial the company's primary number, or if the company has direct inward dial phone numbers, DIDs, for each one of its members, we need to make sure that that links to the actual member himself. Email needs to link directly to the member. Site needs to link to the homepage. And then also, instead of Facebook, Instagram, I would utilize, you know, for businesses, we want to make sure that we're utilizing LinkedIn. And then maybe we'll utilize an Instagram account and or a Facebook account. But we definitely want to add the LinkedIn profile and link to each one of the company profile pages. And then a navigation should pop open, maps, Google Maps, with directions from you to the location. So if you don't know how to do that, please let me know. And then add me to your contact list. When you click that, this should download a vCard so that you could add it to your phone with all the contact information in it. Their phone number, address, links to their website, social media sites, and things of that nature. So if you don't have those vCards, make sure you get with Rena and she can create those vCards and fix your funnel, or make sure you get together with Maine and she can do that as well. She knows how to get into Fix Your Funnel and get those built out there. So some work to be done just from a styling standpoint on the profile pages. So think about it. Company pages first and foremost, profile pages to build credibility and to create brand pages for each member of the team. And then we're going to move into our business pages and or our product pages. For Principal Diagnostics, it's going to be their test menu, right? And I need you to take their test menu from their old site, add it to this site. And then what we're going to do is we'll create a link in the global navigation to test menu and have submenu items with each one of their tests. And Rena has that information, I do believe, for the site. If you don't have it, please get with me as soon as possible in order to gather that information. We, in regards to additional pages, I believe this executive team site, I don't know what this is, the About Us. This actually doesn't even link to, oh, it does link to the About Us. So we're doing development on the About Us page. So that's coming along. We want to make sure that does come along and we get these pages built out as quickly as possibly can. Make sure we link the submenu items. If this doesn't link to services, oh, it is linking to services. Fantastic. We're starting to get there. Let's keep pushing. Careers. Maybe take a look at the old site, compare it to the new site. If there's a careers page, let's go ahead and get that built out. Contact us, inquiry form. So here's a rule of thumb, you know, in a framework, whenever we request information. So there's two types of information that we are going to be requesting, or our customers will request. A general inquiry, where they're requesting actual information, and or they're putting their information in order to make a purchase of a product and or service. online. So whenever we request information from the end user, you want to make sure that you have a disclaimer here, which states why it is that you're collecting the information and how the information will be used. You can also use links to the privacy policy and/or data use policy, but you need to clarify that below the submit button so that you build trust and credibility with the end user as they enter their information. Yeah, I'll give you an example of that. Every time we request information, we want to make sure that we have a disclaimer below the form states, we hate spam. We will not sell your information. We will only utilize your information as outlined in our privacy policy. These need to be stated on each form on the website. And then also we can utilize trust and credibility icons in order to further build trust and credibility when we're requesting information from end users. The pharmacy consult, this form here, as you can see here, we need to make sure we have a trust and credibility disclaimer below it. Our icons here in regards to accreditations need to be styled so they match the site theme. As you can see here, the background is a different color than the background on the images. And this is not an actual page. We have it as a page here. This should be a pop-up and link to the Pharmacy Consult button up in the menu bar, the main menu bar section. So, so that's how I would treat this instead of having an actual page itself. Now, when we're also going to need a confirmation page from that states, hey, we did gather your information. We're going to send out notifications, and Rena has all the notes associated with that. So if you don't have those notes, take a look at the notes in the company notes section, and let's make sure we get that built out. In addition to the menu item and header, all websites are going to start off with a footer. We need to make sure that the phone numbers are click to call. The addresses are click to get directions. The email addresses are click to send email. We want to make sure that our quick links spotlight our primary calls to action, right? And then we want to make sure that all of our social media icons are linked, and we have, the link to the homepage. The logo should link to the homepage. So just so you're aware, those things still need to be done in a timely manner, and some things to be thinking about. COVID tools, take a look at the old site. I'm going to be helping today in regards to getting these pages updates. Full width pages, we want to make sure that we got the framework deployed, the menu items deployed, and everything is linking. All right, we can utilize breadcrumbs in order to create additional linking for websites. As you can see here, here's another profile page that needs to be styled. And then I'm sure we need to add our links here in regards to call, email, site, LinkedIn, and Facebook and Instagram navigation, and or LinkedIn in lieu of Facebook and or Instagram. Probably LinkedIn should be one of the primary ones that we're focused on when we're talking about business here. So Gina is the actual CEO now. So let's make sure that we update her title. And maybe, as you can see here, perfect, have her name under here and her title, Chief Executive Officer, co-founder, and then just make sure we style it so that their profile picture is visible above the fold. HIPAA policy, full width page. Let's make sure that we grab the information from the old site. Make sure that we link all of the buttons. I'm not really a big fan of these buttons here. Let's update the button styling to maybe match some of our styling that I've added in the menu items. These buttons here are okay, but I don't know about the body buttons. Or maybe add some transition, add some logos or icons and things like that. Let's make this thing really pop in regards to buttons and things of that nature. Maybe add some animations and stuff like that. We shall see. Latest news should be magazine style for the company. About us, of course, let's finish that, get that accomplished. And that's all I have for you right now. So from a framework standpoint, make sure that we have our brand elements, the images, logo, colors, fonts, things of that nature. Start there. Make sure that you're clear about what the brand elements is. Start going in and building out global elements when it comes to images or text or buttons and things of that nature, and start saving them to the site as global elements so that when we come on here and we deploy a button, those are already styled. We don't have to restyle everything. We just pull up those global elements. So maybe we should update the style of this button up here to match these buttons down here. So make sure the elements are starting to be styled from a global element standpoint. And then deploy, when we start doing that, deploy the header and footer. Make sure we get the links to start to build out there. Click to calls, click for directions, click to email, things of that nature. And then our primary calls to actions. Make sure that we're linking all of our subpages in the global menu. And that should be the header and footer. Once we get the header and footer framework deployed, we can begin deploying the company pages, home, about us, contact pages, HIPAA pages, privacy policies, things of that nature. So, and then after that, we start deploying the bios and the business pages. And business pages are just, you should have a business page for each website, and it should be just a page that's optimized for location, geography, for product, for service. It should be optimized and give all the information for a specific product or service. It's kind of like a landing page for a product and or a service page that's optimized for geographic area and or optimized for target market. So that's going to be the business pages that we deploy on each one of those websites. So it should be those three sections from a framework standpoint: company pages, trust and credibility pages, and then business pages. So hopefully that gives you some insight. Hopefully that training will help out. And if you have any questions, ping me on Slack. Let's move forward with our projects and let's get some of these things closed out. Hope all is well. Make it a fantastic day, and we'll talk real soon.